This semester I've learned a lot about the Medicis that ruled Florence.
Medicis.
And they owned a lot of art and they kept all of the art in Florence, so thank them. Yeah.
I think I've learned a lot more about people and like human nature than about traveling itself, which was interesting and not what I expected. But a lot just about the commonality across cultures of the fact that people need love and people need community. And although it's difficult when you don't speak the same language, like extremely difficult to actually connect with people's hearts and provide community, it's just been interesting. I don't know.
I've learned to say ciao ciao. That might be about it from Italian class, but that's okay. And buongiorno.
Buonasera. I think I've learned that a lot of things don't go as planned whenever you're traveling. So you just have to be able to roll with things, and like I'm a big planner, and so you just have to be able to just go with the flow and just move on with that.
What have I learned? Let me think about it. Okay, I have learned how to cook. That's a good one, right? I'm 20 years old and I learned how to cook finally. I make ham and cheese squares, frozen vegetables, put them in the microwave, put the ham and cheese squares, cut up some peppers, put them in there, oregano, garlic, olive oil, throw it all together, cut up a nice little piece of bread and a Coke, and your gourmet meal right in the potatoes.
Dinner every night.
I've definitely learned that a lot of things are different in other cultures, which is really obvious. But things such as like not having a dryer and like things that are sometimes broken, you just kind of have to learn to like roll with wherever you are, and you'll kind of like fit into that culture eventually because you'll figure out what you need to do to adapt.
I have learned that I'm a lot more uncoordinated than I thought before this trip. I free fell down the stairs in Budapest, almost took Brent out. I fell in Naples, stabbed Gabby in the leg with my umbrella. I have tripped my way through Florence over the little cobblestones.
I guess I've learned that you should turn any situation into a learning situation. I mean, you're in Italy, like, this is the greatest textbook you could possibly have, and you just live in it. And so anywhere you go, like, you can learn something from it.
My biggest takeaway would be probably a new sense of responsibility, because although we have the Johnsons, they aren't our babysitters, so for the most part we have to take care of ourselves as far as our living situations and our cooking and our cleaning and grocery shopping. So I feel like I can take away a new level of maturity after these 3 months.
I would have to say the biggest takeaway would be especially if you're going to Nice and staying at the High Hotel and Eco Spa, make sure you get a room that has a shower door, and that make sure you have a bathroom that is not see-through glass.
I think that my biggest takeaway is all of the new friendships I've made, and I've got some new Italian besties.
Wait. My biggest takeaway from study abroad is that it's not really the place that counts, but who you're with, and the people can make the trip so much more incredible than you ever thought, and you'll grow closer to them than you ever expected that you would. It's kind of this thing where I guess we would all go on trips separately, and then we'd come back and be like, I miss you, and we'd been gone for 48 hours from each other, and that's when you realize that these are special people and that God has placed them in your life for a reason and for a time, and study abroad is the only thing, well, not the only thing, but one of the biggest things that's always going to tie all of you together. Becca's gnocchi is the best I've ever had. That's my biggest takeaway. She learned how to cook.
My biggest takeaway is that the world is really, really big, and there's a lot of different people, and they all think a lot of different things, so we should be aware of what people think so we know how to treat people, and be aware of what they think and how it's different than how we do.
I think my biggest takeaway has been that being with everyone is really great, but you always need to like find alone time for yourself, I guess.
Caitlin's biggest takeaway is her plan of action, because she had a plan before she came on this trip, but once she got to London, she realized that like God had a different plan in mind for her, and she's just really not sure what she wants to do now. So like she's okay with it, and she's fine with it, and she's gonna let the Lord work it out for her.
I'd say that's probably my biggest takeaway.
For me, I think my biggest takeaway is like how hard and yet how easy it is to like live the same life that an adult lives, because like this whole trip we've managed to do things that most adults won't even do for like once a year. Like they'll plan a 1 week vacation and we've done a vacation literally once a week. And then on top of that, like we're living on our own. Like Steven said, the Johnsons aren't our babysitters, and so like we take care of ourselves, we cook for ourselves, we do all that stuff. And like it hasn't been easy, but like we've done it.
My biggest takeaway would probably be that studying abroad makes you very uncomfortable and puts you in interesting situations that you're not accustomed to, but it makes you much more appreciative of the things that you have at home.
I think my biggest takeaway from this trip would probably be a heightened sense of independence, just with everything that we've had to do on our own while we're here, kind of like they said, with cooking and cleaning and traveling everywhere. You know, that's just stuff that we have never had to do in the US, but now that we're over here, we've learned how to do a whole lot of fun stuff. And I can't wait to see how I deal with that at home.
My biggest takeaway is that you should study abroad if you have the opportunity.
My biggest takeaway from this trip is a can of paprika Pringles.
So when you study abroad, you'll learn that you are very out of your comfort zone. You're away from all of your family and most of your friends that are back home, so you're away from all of the familiar things that you know. So you realize that Jesus is the most familiar thing that you know, and that's something that I realized over time, is that like He's the one thing that I can rely on, which has helped me to grow a lot with Him too. He's shown me how faithful He is, that He is always there for me, and that He like will be the best friend. There have been times on this trip where like I haven't always chosen the higher road, but like Jesus is still faithful to me, and He's shown me like the most beautiful things abroad, and He's shown me the most beautiful people, and just allowed me to experience things that I don't know why He would choose me to experience. So like He's so faithful and He's so kind, and I just feel like Jesus and I have gotten a lot closer because I needed Him, and like I don't know, He's great, and so we've formed a better friendship and relationship since I've been in Italy.
I think I've grown in the knowledge that, one, I think all of us have realized like we need to spend more time with our Father and be filled more by Him instead of just like running all the time with no energy. But also just like how important it is to have some kind of concrete something in your life, and for Christians that's our God. And as difficult as it is with not being in the Word and stuff, it's just been a greater and greater reminder like you need that constancy and that solidity in your life, and just to actually make time to seek after it.
I think that I have learned to get, well, it's been a challenge because you're not in the same spiritual environment, so you have to learn to see God in different ways. But like Amy was saying, I've learned to see God in the places that I am, which has been a challenge but also a really cool thing. And it's been challenging to intentionally spend time in the Word and spend time with God, I think, just because it's really easy to get distracted and pulled away.
Definitely for me, every time I'm in a different kind of place or a different environment, I learn to really rely on God, because if you're like in an uncomfortable situation or you're really pushed spiritually, I think that's a really important way that you can grow and you can change, by really depending on God instead of your own self or people around you even.
I've learned that God is more than just like something that needs to be like right in front of you or whatever. Like God can be in nature or in other people or whatever else.
Goodness gracious, what was something funny?
The funniest moments was when Sunny tried to convince all of us that there was a lady named Vayenta who she had to pay to use the bathroom, and half of us actually believed her. And then when we in return convinced Sunny that we were getting a random on our overnight train, and she actually believed us and cried.
When Sarah, it sounded like Sarah had ripped the toilet off the wall. Actually, she just got a little too excited about going to the bathroom and went skiing in the water because of shower floods, and did a 360 turn in the air and landed on the tile floor. And thought she'd broken her, a lot of muscles, but also thought she had a concussion. But I thought it was really funny.
I think the funniest part of the trip for me has been when Erin and I do evening shenanigans to our victim Sav, and we basically just like to pull pranks on her and scare her as best we can.
And steal her squirrels.
Oh yeah, we like to hide the rodent as well.
Definitely when Phil fell off of his bike during the bike tour in London. That was hysterical.
Kate falling down and nailing me with an umbrella in Naples.
I think the funniest thing that happened on this trip may not have been funny at the time, but now it is the funniest thing that's happened on the trip, and that's when Brent gave his backpack away.
He felt bad for the man that came into Milkeria, so he just gave it to him. It was nice.
In Hallstatt, when I got to take a real shower for the first time in months with real water pressure and hot soft water.
I'd have to say my best travel memory would be in Scotland when we arrived at our hostel, and the smell of our hostel room was the most pungent smell I've ever experienced in my entire life.
When we were in Scotland, our hostel just smelled really, really bad because there was these two guys who just smelled really, really bad. So, like, the first night we did not sleep because they were snoring for like until 4 in the morning. So I was like, I'm not sleeping in here again. I'm just really not gonna do it. So the next night, me and someone else on our trip ended up sleeping in the restaurant in the hostel in 2 different booths, like in the restaurant. And we had a really great sleep, and I was woken up at like 6 a.m. by someone cleaning the restaurant, and they just didn't think anything of it. Apparently it just smells bad. Don't know.
My favorite travel memory was when a few of us got to go to Edinburgh, Scotland, and we decided to climb Arthur's Seat, which is like this really, really big hill. And as we're climbing up, we didn't realize how windy it would be that day. And there are still pictures of us now that we have that literally show us like jumping forward and the wind like catching us because it was just that strong, and we would like move back a few inches. And that is just my favorite memory because we all gathered together and just laid on the ground. You could feel the wind rushing over us, and we decided to have a little worship moment, and we played a lot of music, and it was just really, really tender, and we loved it, and it's forever just in my heart, and it just makes me happy.
My best travel memory is trying to sleep 7 people in a 6-person compartment, and me and Andrew were kicking each other in the face.
I think the funniest memory was probably when we last minute changed our hotel in Nice and then got there that next day, and turns out that like the shower and the bathroom were in the middle of the room. You could see through them, so that was pretty great.
Going to Albania with Sarah and Amy to visit my long-lost family members and making friends, and now having a place to stay in Albania, Sicily. So if you want their phone number, let us know. I'll hit you up.
Interlaken was the greatest place in the whole world, well, Europe, for me, because of the scenery, and it's a very small town feel, and it was so relaxing. You have to go.
Switzerland, all of Switzerland, ever.
Me too, because when I
Switzerland.
went, there was a lot of snow, and I've never seen snow like that, and it was just really, really pretty, and I felt like a 5-year-old. It was great.
The beauty of the place is ridiculous and overwhelming, and just like humbles you in the most beautiful way, because there's mountains that have been there for like unimaginable amounts of years, and it's just Switzerland. It's great.
My best travel memory is when we were biking through the streets of London and Phil landed flat on his face with the bike squarely on top of his back, and I cried. We all cried.
This is great.
My favorite travel memory was sitting in the Würzburg McDonald's for 6 hours because they had truffle sauce.
And Justin rubbed his McDonald's feet all over me when we slept in the train that night.
And me and Sad rubbed our tube hands on Sunny's face.
My best travel memory was actually this past weekend, and we were in Switzerland, and the last day that we had there, me and a few other people decided to take a few trains up to Zermatt, which is like the Swiss side of where the Matterhorn is. It's actually where my parents spent their honeymoon, and while we were up there, we got to see like the first snowfall of the year in Switzerland, and it was just awesome. It was a really good time.
My favorite travel memory was London, all of it.
Being robbed on the train.
What did you get robbed of?
My camera and my tablet.
So do you have a tip for people next semester
Yes.
to not get robbed?
Don't leave your backpacks under your seat.
Travel memory is when we were trying to get to Hallstatt, Austria, and we realized after about 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 100 hours of training that we were headed to Hallstatt, Germany, and we have been going the wrong way for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely expect the unexpected. That's really broad, but you never know what's going to happen. Just kind of learn to love the city and learn to respect the culture and to just really try to plug into it instead of like being turned off by all the different things that we're not used to.
Go to Conad and not Meta. Disagree. Conad's way better.
Meta
has what you need and it's right here.
Meta is expensive.
Meta's expensive, Conad is cheaper, and it has way more options.
Pondestella at Conad is half the price.
I know.
So are my bocce chocolates.
I'm sorry, continue.
Go to the Secret Bakery at least once a week, twice if you're having a bad day.
Twice a week if you're having a bad day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a cappuccino every day.
Drink a cappuccino every day, yeah.
It's worth
Sometimes
it.
3 times a day.
With a chocolate croissant.
My biggest tip would be to be as flexible as possible, because with us being the pioneer group, we've had to shift a lot and change a lot. We kind of have to get used to being quick on our feet, and it'll probably be a few trips before that gets all sorted out. So just remember that at the end of the day, you're in Florence, and just to be happy with what you have and be ready to make the most of whatever situation arises.
And I'd say challenge yourself and try to be courageous in things. On our welcome day thing for welcome week for all the Florence students, one of the speakers said she just challenged us to try to do one thing every single day that you're scared of or that you haven't done or something, and just like be open to those opportunities and things and have the courage to actually do things that frighten you.
Go to Shake Cafe and get to know the people.
Linnea.
And La Menagerie, because they know me there now too.
I think also to enjoy like every moment that you have here because it's gone by so fast. So yeah.
Don't stay in your apartment all day.
True. I agree with that one.
It's important to know that like travel like isn't that big of a deal, and I've kind of like figured that out on this trip that like I just used to like think that going to different places was like hard, and like having to reserve our own like hostels and figure out where we're going, like amongst doing dishes and getting groceries for yourself, it just like has made me more responsible, and it's like fun. So
Eat as much gelato as you possibly can.
Go to the Rio La Caraya over the La Caraya Bridge.
Stay in Italy.
Eat all the gelato.
Yes, at La Caraya.
Or anywhere, really.
Eat gelato every day.
Yes.
Okay, so Erin, how much gelato do you think you've eaten in this past 3 months?
Well, there was one evening that I ate 5 cups on one evening. So I'd say that altogether, it's probably close. Realistically, probably 150 or so, maybe.
I'd say that's how many Cheetos I've had. So, and Lizzie McGuire told us that gelato has twice the sugar of American ice cream.
That's not true. It has less fat than American ice cream.
True, because there's less
true. When I first got here, I ate it every single day, sometimes twice a day. So I really think that it's probably in the hundreds. So,
Okay.
But there's no regrets.
How much gelato do you think you've eaten this semester?
Probably like 10 pounds of gelato. Like 5 times a week at least. So I've gotten my fill.
How much gelato do you think you guys have eaten over this semester?
A lot. Sometimes it's more than once a day. So a lot.
Yeah.
Enough to not want to eat it again for a while.
So over the course of this semester, how much gelato do you think you guys have eaten?
So many scoops.
80 plus cups?
Maybe not. I'd go with 90.
Okay.
I'd do it.
I'm gonna eat 10 this week.
Okay, do it.
Lots of
Beat me.
gelato. I'll be fat.
Hey Brent, how much gelato do you think you've had on the trip? Probably like a scoop or 2 total. Would you study abroad again? Would you do it all over again?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yes. Absolutely. There's a big B in there.
Hey Steve, who would win in a fight between Kent and Michael Weingart?
Weingart's got the German passion, but Kent's got those convertible pants.
I would probably say,
I'd bet my money on Weingart.
I think Kent. He's like
Weingart's like,
yeah, but Kent runs, so he has.
Kent's like so
but then
fit.
he would just run away.
well, so is Weingart.
He could like jujitsu.
Oh my gosh,
Michael Weingart. Hands down.
Absolutely.
Yep. Ciao. Bye.
Hypothetically speaking, of course, who would win in a fight between Kent and Marco?
Kent.
Marco would say that like you missed the point of the fight or something. So
He'd be too nervous about it. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh, Kent.
Definitely.
Like it would fall apart.
Definitely Kent.
Marco was like this big around. Have I severely fallen yet?
What? Okay, never mind. Alright, we're ready!
Tell me about Michaela.
Well, Michaela is someone near and dear to all of us. She works at the pizzeria across the street and heckles us nonstop every day. I can't enter my apartment without her coming up to us and trying to help me open the door with her lipstick smeared all over her face for no apparent reason. But she's greatly enhanced the trip.
This will be edited, right?
No.
Okay. Biggest takeaway that I've learned from studying abroad is
What have you learned this semester?
Okay.
Justin, what's it been like to live with 5 other guys this semester?
I need to think about that.
The one thing I learned was how to speak in a British accent.
Thanks, London.
That's it.
Are we good? Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, should I just start over again? And then you
Yeah!
Because there are people that are on this trip that I'd never seen before, and now, you know, I consider them really good friends, and I'm thankful for that.
How has the community on the trip impacted you?
It's made a huge impact because I am the kind of person where the location really doesn't matter to me if the company isn't good. So I'd just like to say to all of you that it doesn't really matter where we go or where we've been. The community that I found on this trip has made every place that I've been to really special, and I'd like to thank all of you for that.
So it sounds like you guys have fallen a lot. What's everyone's best fall?
We were walking back from the villa, and I twisted my ankle for about the 30th time, and just, you know, landed right on the ground.
I fell down the steps of our apartment and like skipped the whole flight of stairs. It was only like 3 though. But the wall is permanently scarred from my water bottle.
I'm gonna stick with Food Fest because that was a total wipeout. So.
What about you, Sarah?
Brent, what's been your favorite place to go in Florence?
That's a good question. Well, I really like gelato, so there are a few good gelato shops that are in Florence. Eduardo is a good one. La Caraya is great. Andrew really loves Grom, so he's Grom all the way. And then I love coffee, so basically any coffee shop in Florence is good. I like to go to La Menagerie because they have fast Wi-Fi and it's big, but you don't have to go there.
What's the worst part of living in Florence?
I think the worst part of living in Florence would hands down be the 6:42 bells, the 7:13 bells, and the 8:01 bells.